Box office top 10 at 15, Twilight Saga, The Eclipse.
On the subject that we were just talking about, the fact that I love the Twilight movies. And I will repeat this. I did think whilst I was watching Regretting You, is it just me because it's not made for... I know Twilight movies weren't made for me, but I love them. I love them.
So that's 15 here, nowhere in America because they didn't bother with that kind of thing. Number 10 here, Night of the Zoopocalypse.
It's what you always wanted. It's Clive Barker animated for kids. I mean, it's all right.
Number 9, number 11 in Canada, After the Hunt.
Which I absolutely hated, but I see from the script that there is an email.
Jenny says, despite Mark's less than positive review of After the Hunt, my love of Guadagnino's previous work meant I had to see for myself. I found the whole thing insipid. There was a threat of getting into the meatiness of the Me Too movement, but it lacked, a bit like Julia Roberts' character, any conviction or belief in what it was critiquing. The most interesting element was the throwaway mention of the feminist divide of the older generation who rocked the boat for a level of equality and don't want to rock it further versus younger women who haven't seen the changes in their lifetime and want to see more. Perhaps investigating this idea would give the story more bite and made it altogether more interesting. Overall, it felt like a very shallow look at something that deserves far more than a glaze over. Tiggity tonk and all that jazz. Jenny. This from Liv. Dear Smug and Smugger. Which am I?
I'm Smugger, I'm sure.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay. Medium term. You see, there's a problem there. I have mentioned this before, how podcast presenters get smug.
Okay.
And I hope that we're not that, because I hear it in almost every podcast I listen to. Anyway, but thank you for the email. Medium-term listener, as I don't think I've been alive long enough to qualify for long-term listenership. First-time emailer. After a long week of PhD study, I went to see After the Hunt, despite Mark's scathing review. I nearly cancelled, but the ticket was paid for, and I'm glad I didn't. His critique lowered my expectations so effectively that I may have enjoyed it more than I otherwise would have.
Yeah, that is possible.
The film is deeply impressed with itself.
It is.
Unlike Saltburn, which was all style, After the Hunt suffers from the substantive flaws. The score was oppressive, the ticking motif irritating, and the costuming so unsubtle I wanted to shout, yes, Julia Roberts is in black and white, I get it. The coda somehow made things worse.
The coda is awful. The coda is awful.
Why?
Because it's just... As I said when I did the review, it's just like you go, oh, for heaven's sake, don't be so stupid.
Its depiction of philosophy departments was absurd.
Yes.
More toga party than academia.
Yes.
Lazy stereotypes like these damage public perception, especially when philosophy is often first on the chopping block in commercialised universities.
Yes.
Also, virtue ethics is not modern. Aristotle predates Christ by 300 years. The film's critique of identity politics is clumsy and confused, conflating academic analysis with liberal tokenism. The former examines how power interacts with identity. The latter offers symbolic gestures that are easier for institutions to adopt than real change. Mark was right. The film's critique is incoherent, but somewhere in the mess, there might have been a sharp satire worth salvaging. My very best wishes from Liv. Well, Liv, you can write again. Thank you very much
very good.
For getting involved. I think Mark will probably say amen to all of that.
Yeah, amen to all of that. That was very, very eloquently expressed, and thank you very much.
Number 8 is Downton Abbey, the grand finale.
Still doing very well and still doing exactly what it says on the tin.
Number 3 in America, number 7 here, Good Fortune.
So this is Keanu Reeves as the apprentice angel who wants to, get out of being just doing text messages. He wants to change people's lives. And the thing is that he's got this poor, down at heel guy who he says, the issue isn't money. I'll swap your life with the rich guy. And he swaps his life with the rich guy and he says, see, it's no better. And he goes, no, it is. I like this much, much better. So it's all right. I mean, it's disposable nonsense.
Benno on our YouTube channel. Roofman is one of the best films of the year. Feels like a throwback to 70s filmmaking of sorts in its straightforward and emotionally honest central narrative. Thinking of things like The Sugarland Express and Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. Finds a unique balance between the drama and comedy and ultimately succeeds because of the chemistry between Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst. Brilliant filmmaking and perhaps accidentally might even be Cian-France's finest work to date. Just a small nitpick, Derek Cian-France did not direct Sound of Metal. He did co-write the story.
Oh, sorry.
And executive producer and director was Darius Marder. Anyway, that's Roofman at number 6. Number 5, One Battle After Another, number 4 in America.
Which I really like. I think it's one of the films of the year. I think it's thrillingly exciting. And love it.
Number 4 here, number 2 in America, Tron Ares.
Arse.
I Swear is at number 3 here.
Which I really like. I'm really, really glad it's doing so well. It's terrific. It's really, really good. Really, really terrific.
Really terrific. The Black Phone 2 is a new entry at number 2 in America. Is the number 1 movie.
And I've just looked this up because when I was talking about him in Regretting You, I said Mason Thames, which is how it's spelt, but apparently Thames. Apparently Mason Thames. Also Colleen Hoover, not Colleen Hoove, Colleen Hoover. But the film's still all over the place. Black Phone 2 is all right, but it's not great.
Peter Benassi says, I had some hope. Scott Derrickson is the man who traumatised me with Sinister in 2012, but this sequel/prequel hybrid wants to have its cake and eat it, leaning heavily into retro horror aesthetics. The Shining, Friday the 13th, especially Nightmare on Elm Street, all loom large. The film's themes, vengeful souls and fear as fuel, are familiar, and the final act's direction is obvious early on. Derrickson's fondness for grainy flashback footage, once chilling in Sinister, now feels tired and shoehorned in. It's a real curate's egg, a clunky exposition dump, some laugh-out-loud moments, intentional and not, but also strong character work, unsettling sound design, and a couple of decent scares. Unfortunately, the villain, the grabber, loses menace as the film progresses, and the ending lands on an oddly poignant note. Ultimately, it's overlong, unnecessary, and not very scary. Whilst there are flashes of Derrickson's talent, Black Phone 2 feels like a franchise stretching itself thin. If a third instalment comes calling, I doubt I'll pick up. Time to cut the cord, Scott.
Yes.
Says Peter.
Yeah, I agree.
You can write again, Peter, as well. And number 1 in the UK, number 7 over there, is Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie. Okay, so some correspondence here. Dear Cat, Rat and Meerkat, long-time listener, second-time emailer. I last wrote in January about a censored Nosferatu screening in Qatar. No 65-year-old buttocks and no ending. I mean, that's 2 ways of saying the same thing, really. I'm a lifelong horror fan, a regular at London Fright Fest and heading to Abertoir in Wales this November. As in Aber and Entoir, yeah. This morning I took my 6-year-old daughter, who loves the TV show, to see Gabby's Dollhouse. It started at 10 a.m, but we left barely 20 minutes in. She got scared when Vera, with some serious Cruella vibes, appeared and asked to go. I checked that she was sure, and then we skedaddled. We've had mixed cinema success. Moana 2 and Dogman were wins. Minecraft and Migration, not so much. Super Mario Brothers was a triumph. She's a sensitive soul, like her mum, and while she copes better at home, where she can hide during scary bits, the cinema overwhelms her, even with ear defenders. Any tips on helping her manage mild peril in light-hearted films? I'd love to gently guide her toward being a happy, horror-loving adult. Hello to Jason, yours desperately, Steve in North Finchley. I haven't seen the film. Mark has. He will comment just a second. I would only say, as someone who went with Child 3 to see so many films and then walk out, including Finding Nemo, because it was too loud and too sad. Yeah. That was like after literally 5 minutes. I think the key thing, Steve, is she copes better at home. The cinema is what's causing the trouble. And cinemas in general have things too loud and it's too dark. So I would suggest that if she has a problem, don't unless you know it's going to be great, maybe having seen it yourself first, which I did do a couple of times. I think the cinema is the problem. And sometimes cinemas do arrange special screenings where they leave the lights on and the volume is lower. So maybe you could look out for that.
Yes.
Maybe you have a cinema near you that does that.
But I mean, I think that's absolutely right. The thing about absolutely don't force it, and the thing about there are screenings that they do in which they do lower light, lower sound volume. They keep some of the lighting up in the screen. I mean, the cinemas call those screenings different things. Some of them call them calmer screenings, but a lot of cinemas do it. But it's a perfectly natural reaction, and if somebody's not ready for that experience, then just wait until they are. I absolutely agree. Don't force it. If somebody's had enough, leave. That's the way to do it.
But that's a number 1 film, Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
The essence, and your essence of that was, if you haven't seen the TV show, then you're going to struggle.
Well, as I said, when I was watching it, I was just like, I've got no idea about any of this. But clearly it was playing to, I have a friend who took their young kids to see it and they absolutely loved it. And there's a bit when the lead character turns to the audience and says, okay, will you sing it with me? Shall we sing the song? And it's the pinch on the left, the pinch on the right, and lum and lum. And they said, yeah, the whole cinema did it. So that's fine. So it's, as I said when I was reviewing it, for the adults, you've got the sort of, there is the Cruella de Vil character, and that's fine. But for the rest of it, it's absolutely for the younger cinema-going audience, and that's who it's designed for. And I had no idea what was going on.
Great, and a new generation goes to the cinema and thinks, "Hey, this is good. Yeah. This is better than being at home." Yeah. But Steve, don't force it, and otherwise, it may well be that. You don't want to spoil the cinematic experience anyway. But obviously, clearly, some things are working, and if Super Mario Brothers was a triumph, then more of that kind of thing. But the volume was the thing I think that did it for us. I think it was just too much.
We've had a lot of correspondence about that, about volume levels being very, very high. As you remember, somebody saying that they were told by the cinema they can't turn it down. Yes, you can. There's a volume knob.
Yeah. Interesting, very interesting. Correspondence at kermodemayo.com. But the UK moral number one.
Yes.
This is a slightly new interpretation of the box office. So the moral number one is Frankenstein.
It is. And the reason this isn't in the charts is that Netflix don't allow box office figures to be returned. So we don't know what the box office figures are. Also because the way that Netflix works, the releases they essentially really want people to see the film on streaming, although Guillermo del Toro obviously would love you to see it in the cinema. And I thought it was great. I thought it was a really brilliant take on a classic text that Guillermo del Toro has circled for most of his career. I mean, I first met Guillermo in the 90s when he was doing Kronos, and he was talking about Frankenstein then. So I'm just really glad that he's finally done it and that it is as good as it is. Vixter
on our YouTube, I thought it was excellent, a really moving exploration of what makes us human. Mia Goth is great, but it was Jacob Elordi who really impressed me as the creature. The visuals, sets, use of colour and light, and the desplat. Do you say desplat?
Desplat.
I would have thought the French wouldn't pronounce the S.
No, he is Alexandre
Desplat. Okay. Are all superb. Definitely see it at the cinema if you can. Limited release, obviously, and then Netflix from November the 7th for Frankenstein, the moral number one.